Important information regarding the PlayStation Network and services. Sony have screwed up big time. No, I don't mean by allowing an intrusion to happen, whatever the hell that means. Sony can hardly be sensibly blamed for this possible theft of information. They've done rather a lot to prevent it, after all. If they were as insecure as I've seen suggested, then they would have been hacked years ago. What I'm talking about is Sony's big inexcusable deed. Lack of information. When account information is lost, you tell the card owners as soon as you know, not a day later, certainly not almost a week later. The lack of information from Sony is not a one-off thing. Throughout this whole sorry mess, they've never quite given anyone any decent information. They can't sincerely expect people to believe that they don't know, roughly, subject to change, how long it'll take them to restore network service, or what exactly is compromised, or even, at a minimum, how long it'll take them to figure out any of that stuff I've just said. Like I say, this is a systemic problem with Sony. Try reading some of the information from Sony about each firmware update. It isn't a changelog, is it? It's a short collection of platitudes. Worse, it's security by obscurity, and it is the major difference betwixt the security of the PS3 itself, the documentation of which is surprisingly interesting. There's a reason it took so long before any holes in the PS3's security were found, and then they were patched out, and the security of the PlayStation Network. I say sensibly. I've seen some rather bizarre things said about it, with one person even writing that this is the fault of too much security. I'll just let that sink in. Sony has too much security. That's how they got hacked, because they can't implement updates without everyone buying new games. Really. I'm also not keen on how seriously Sony don't appear to be taking this in Europe. My American account's email address was used to inform me of the whole sorry mess. My English account's email address, on the other hand, was, well, nothing. They expect you to go to the PlayStation blog if you aren't American. I don't know, are we supposed to see this as a compliment? Initially, I was hoping it meant the problem didn't reach outside of America, which would have been nice for me personally, since I only use the PlayStation Network cards on the American account, rather than the credit-debit card like on the English one. So just how close am I to getting an Xbox 360? I'm not. What, you think Microsoft's stuff is more secure? Can you play pirated games on an Xbox? There you go then. Getting an Xbox 360 because the PSN was compromised makes no sense. No, I'm going to stick with my PS3 and try to put this whole sorry experience behind me. And I hope the backlash will be enough for them to take customer information a hell of a lot more seriously. They're getting deservedly sued. Hopefully that'll be enough. Now, Sony have since claimed that they have informed the customer as soon as they knew. So is there still a problem? Well, yes, they're saying that now. Why didn't they tell us this when they found it out originally? I mean, a short statement saying there's been an intrusion, and whilst they were unaware of any problems with personal information, they're hiring a third party and investigating the issues themselves would have done much to help. Essentially, all the things they've said after they released the news that personal information may be compromised anyway, but in more detail. Further on, Sony has emailed the Europe region, albeit almost 2 days later, when, like I say, communication and timeliness are very important when it comes to a possible theft of information.